Declan Rice says goodbye to West Ham ahead of the official Arsenal transfer. Hello everyone, thank you for being part of the Arsenal chapter, and make your point, subscribe and ring that notification bell so you do not miss out on whatever we've definitely got to bring to you, as long as it is sports and as long as it is Arsenal related, right about here at the Arsenal chapter with me, your host Abu Kals, as we definitely talk sport right about here and as we talk everything that is Arsenal related. We always make sure that we are the first people to bring it to you straight as it comes in. And if you're interested in any Arsenal news, all you need to do is simple. Just go subscribe, ring that notification bell so that you do not miss out on anything that has to be brought to you by us from Arsenal. Anyway, what are we talking about today? We are talking about a very wonderful football player who's definitely saying goodbye to West Ham United, one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League, who's been linked to a number of clubs, including it's been linked to Bayern Munich, Arsenal, and Manchester United, with Liverpool not being forgotten that Liverpool also wanted to sign this gentleman. He's been linked to Declan Rice, and also not forgetting that Newcastle United is also another club that was talking about or was being linked to the football player. But by the look of things, Arsenal is the favorite in all this. And with the European football, talking about European football, he's not interested in European football, despite the fact that Michel, who's this Thomas Tuchel, despite the fact that Thomas Tuchel was one of the football managers that is very interested in him. He says he doesn't have any intentions of moving to Europe. He would just like to stay in England, and the fact that he plays for England national team, he would also definitely want to remain in England, stay at home, remain at home, play football at home. Definitely, that is Declan Rice. So for those of you who do not know who Declan Rice is, Declan Rice is an English professional football player, plays as a defensive midfielder and also captains the Premier League club. The game today definitely can confirm to that will be his last game for West Ham. So he's been captaining West Ham for quite a long period of time. He's been the captain of West Ham, and also he's been playing for the English national team. He was born on the 14th of January 1999, and that definitely makes him 24 years of age, and was born at Kingston upon Thames. And current teams, as I told you, he's been playing for West Ham, and also he's been playing for the English national team. And his height is 1.8 meters, and education level, he went to a few schools, quite a bit educated. The dates that he joined the English national team, that was 2019, and then in 2016, that's when he joined West Ham United under 23, and also he later joined West Ham United FC. He's got quite a clear record on him. It will be remembered that he scored a number of goals, despite the fact he's a defensive midfielder. Despite the fact that he's a defensive midfielder, he's not meant to be scoring, but when things are not going on quite well, he definitely goes and makes sure that he can have a goal or two. And he's also had a number of assists on his name. So it's quite good. It's definitely quite good for him as a football player. He's been playing quite well, and he definitely deserves the fact that he's regarded as one of the best defensive midfielders in the world right about now. So let's talk a little bit about Declan Rice and him joining the club Arsenal. And as you already know, that Declan Rice is saying goodbye to West Ham, and West Ham have played quite well recently. And looking at the fact that he's helped West Ham, and right about now, can confirm to you that despite all that has happened, West Ham right about now is in the final. West Ham is playing Fiorentina in the final, and also not forgetting that when you see where West Ham is, it's in the 14th position, ending with 40 points and managing to win 12 games and seven losses. Seven draws. Let me see. Let me check. Yeah, seven losses. Is it 7 draws, 11 wins, and 21 losses? Is it 20 losses, 7 draws, and 11 wins? in 38 games with a year with 40 points. So West Ham, mid-table, not they didn't perform quite well. Not the best of performances last season. But as an individual, Declan Rice has definitely always played well as an individual. He's always played well, always on point. And looking at one of the things that Arsenal have identified, saying that Declan Rice definitely is one that is needed, as Arsenal lack a few things in their club, and one of the things they lack is physicality and power. And when you look at physicality and power, when you're talking about physicality and power in the midfield in the Premier League, the name Declan Rice must appear somewhere. The name Declan Rice is strongly written in capital letters when you talk about physicality and power in terms of defensive midfield in the Premier League. And that's why quite a big number of clubs is very interested in him. When you see Bayern Munich, they've been looking for something like that. Newcastle United, same thing. Manchester United, same thing. And at some point in time, he was also a link to the club Chelsea. You can see, for some reason, you can understand why Declan Rice is a hot cake, because his mode of play is definitely very good. Everyone admires Declan Rice, and also the fact that he's an English professional football player. For some reason, very many clubs like having as long as they are tactful, as long as they are quite okay. Definitely quite a big number of football clubs always find them quite good English professional football players. Anyway, so Declan Rice is here is go again between West Ham has go again between Fiorentina, and that's final of the Conference Cup. Quite a big final, and we think it's going to be a very good one. We think it's going to be a perfect one, and Declan Rice is expected to perform quite well. But before we even talk about that, because he's saying goodbye to the club West Ham, and definitely could be heading to the club Arsenal. Saying goodbye to West Ham means quite a lot, opens opportunities for the club Arsenal, and it's now up to Arsenal to say, oh, this is the time I've been waiting for, and I definitely want you to come to my club. So looking at his clause, he's expected to be above £100 million. £100 million for Declan Rice, that should be okay. He's expected to be more than £100 million. And of recent, Arsenal put in two bids. The first bid was of £90 million. Arsenal came up and said, we need this gentleman, we need Declan Rice, and we're paying £90 million. You will remember that a £90 million for a club like Arsenal shows you how interested they need the football player, how desperate Arsenal needs a defensive midfielder of his caliber. Because when you look at how much Arsenal has been paid for transfers, Arsenal's record transfer is £72 million, and that was Nicolas Pepe. Ever since then, all the transfers have been lower than that. But Arsenal now is putting in quite a bit more effort to get football players, and the fact that they are saying that £72 million is now could definitely be a record in history. It's no longer a thing to talk about. We're talking about £90 million, and as if that was not enough, apart from £90 million, they moved from £90 million and they go to £92 million, and that was definitely quite great. Two bids, one £90 million, another £92 million, and West Ham is still comfortably saying we need more than £100 million for him to go. And we can sort of understand why West Ham is saying they need more than £90 million. You can sort of understand why. Because they're not going to get a football player like Declan Rice. That's definitely out. I don't think West Ham can attract football players like at the level of Declan Rice. I mean, they've made him, but he's now too big for the club, and they've got nothing to do about it. So I think it's going to be a brilliant one. I think it's going to be a good one. And the fact that Arsenal has said that they are ready to pay £300,000 a week, £300,000 a week for Declan Rice, that is quite brilliant. That is quite good for the football player. And we definitely are going to be seeing things going on quite well for Declan Rice if he joins the club Arsenal. So talking about Declan Rice's move, and also, as we've said, how much he's going to be paid, possibly, and him saying goodbye. Is it the right time for him to move? is Arsenal in a position of signing Declan Rice, and why is that? Why is there a big urge to sign Declan Rice? This summer transfer window, actually, Arsenal is trying to make sure that they can get a number of football players. This summer transfer window, we're going to be seeing quite a number of football players, and two defensive midfielders is the target for Arsenal. One of the football players that is needed at Arsenal is Declan Rice. Then the other one, defensive midfielders, is the other defensive midfielder is Moises Caicedo. And Moises Caicedo, also, Brighton and Hove came out and said, no £70 million and no Moises Caicedo. But that seems okay. That seems okay. Arsenal are looking to strengthen their club, strengthen their squad, and also solve the problem of depth that was definitely quite at the club for some time. And right about now, the fact that Arsenal are looking at playing Champions League football, they need a bigger squad, they need a stronger squad, and that's why the fact that they ended second in the table with 84 points, 26 wins, 6 draws, and 6 losses, you can see the performance was definitely quite well, but it wasn't the best of performances, I must say, with the fact that Arsenal lost quite a number of games towards the end, and that's how Arsenal managed to win the Premier League title. But the fact they ended in the second, that shows you that they are going for Champions League football. Automatically, they're going to have Champions League football. Playing Champions League football, you have to have quite a good squad because you're going to play Champions League football, you're going to play the Premier League and other leagues. So a bit of club strengthening, squad strengthening is something that is needed at the club. And the fact that Arsenal are trying their level best to make sure they solve this, that's why they're saying Declan Rice must be at the club, and also another football player is also needed at the club, and also another defensive midfielder. And also looking at the position in which Granit Xhaka is in. Granit Xhaka is definitely needed by Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich needs Granit Xhaka. And Thomas Tuchel, who is the Bayern Munich manager, has come out in many occasions and said, I definitely want him and I'll be paying some good money for him. And that is quite good. That's quite okay. But Arsenal are in a position of not letting Granit Xhaka go unless they have 100% secured a move for either Moises Caicedo or Declan Rice. But most likely Declan Rice is the one who will be moving to the club, Arsenal. So if Arsenal 100% secure Declan Rice, then Granit Xhaka will definitely go. But the fact that Granit Xhaka is still available, is still on, and when Mikel Arteta was asked, that's why he said they do not have intentions, Arsenal do not have intentions of letting Granit Xhaka go unless they have secured a move that for a football player that is going to replace him. And looking at the football player that is most likely going to replace him is none other than Declan Rice. So I will be seeing Declan Rice's move to the club Arsenal being one of the best moves, and it is going to be a record move for sure. It's going to be a record move, as Arsenal is not a club that has been paying 100 million pound for a football player. Arsenal always tries to go lower than that, 50 million pounds, 60 million pounds. And for some reason, if a football player is linked to Arsenal and is worth 70 million pounds, 60 million pounds, the possibilities of getting a football player are always high. And Arsenal is not a club that always goes into bidding wars with other clubs. If you're a football player and other clubs want him, you can have him. They will always go for the next best option. But this time around, they're saying, no way. We need Declan Rice. We're not going for a next best option. If Declan Rice is the best in the Premier League, that's what we want. We want him, and we're definitely willing to go into a bidding war with whichever club says that they definitely want him. So if you want him, put in the cash, knowing that we are also going to put in the cash. And that's what is happening with West Ham. West Ham target being linked to Arsenal and also being linked to quite a number of clubs. West Ham United superstar Declan Rice being linked to Chelsea, being linked to Manchester United, Bayern Munich, Newcastle United, and Liverpool. And right about now, the Arsenal target, who's been an Arsenal target for some time, right about now, he's being seen as a potential Arsenal signing, as Arsenal are putting in 100% to make sure that they can get him. Otherwise, Declan Rice is going to be playing against Fiorentina, and this game is definitely going to be a very wonderful one. It's going to be a good one, and we think that everything will definitely go on quite well for Declan Rice. Otherwise, thank you for being part of the Arsenal chapter, and make up and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you do not miss out on whatever we've decided to go to bring to you, as long as it is sports and as long as it is Arsenal related, right about here at the Arsenal chapter with me, your host Abu Kaus, as I tell thank you and goodbye for now.